Grid 1
their
Motorsports
parents met.
donated $200. I thought about crying once, then I rubbed some dirt on it, realized I was not a pussy, and drove the foo-con. If your man cries, make sure to share your Kotex with him.
So, okay, look, when it comes to this whole idea...
so back to the expression of the emotion. Which way would you prefer that he expressed that?
I would rather him come up to me and be like, hey, what you did just made me angry.
That's not really expressing the emotion. That's suppressing the emotion. Do you see the difference? Hang on. That is a suppression of the emotion, not an expression of it. If he expressed it, then he would be actually angry and show you how angry he was. That would be an expression. What you're actually talking about is a stoic expression of emotion.
What you're talking about is emotional stability. If someone has to lash out because they're angry, that's because they don't have control of their emotions. But if they're mature, they have the ability to talk about it.
So their expression of their emotion to you has to be done without the emotion.
That's what I'm saying. But you're agreeing with me, but trying to debate with me.
No, so, you're wrong. You're just flat out wrong. When you say emotional maturity, right, what you're actually doing is agreeing with me. When I say a stoic frame, you actually don't want men to express their emotions.
But you're also
you want them to express that they have them, but not actually express them.
But you're also only talking about the emotion of anger.
Right.
Yeah.
I think
you're not talking about any other.
Think it's the same
your
thing.
example
so
was
instance,
anger.
If your man comes to you and says, listen, honey, right, what you did, you embarrassed me in front of some guy, right? That really hurt my feelings, right? And I would prefer if you didn't do that in the future because that's what it did, right? As opposed to when you hurt his feelings, he started acting like he was, flustered and flabbergasted, and he was super upset and this type of thing, stuff that we would normally excuse for women. You would not excuse for him. You would expect him to express this from a stoic angle, right? And just say to you later, look, you wouldn't? You'd want him to break down and be blubbery?
If he was upset about something and he was so upset about it that it made him emotional, then so be it. If I have the ability to be emotional and cry about it, do you think I'm lying to you? Wait, what benefit do I have to lie to you?
I don't think any women, I think that's terrible advice for men.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that saying to men that you would prefer that they acted, in a way where they started to break down emotionally, right? Even especially publicly, or they started to cry, or they started to kind of, in some way break that stoic frame. I think that you would not appreciate it. Any more than you would the anger portion.
That's your narrative. You asked me a question and I gave you my answer, but because my answer didn't fit your narrative, you didn't like it.
Well, your answer does. Well, actually, your answer is inconsistent because in the anger portion, you say I would prefer when he's angry not to express that, right? Why?
I said that was the difference between emotional maturity and emotional stability.
Well, why would that not be emotional maturity when it came to sadness as well?
It could be either way.
Anger is more.
You asked me which one I preferred. Obviously, I don't want someone to scream at me.
Yeah, my point is.
But if he screamed at me, then would I be upset about it?
But
we would talk about it.
The expression from a stoic frame of emotion seems to be your preference.
If he can be stoic if he wants to be. You asked me if I preferred to be yelled at or if I preferred to be confronted. Obviously, I'm going to prefer to not be yelled at. Anybody would prefer that. But in terms of emotion and sadness, let me finish what I'm saying. In the term of sadness, if he wants to cry about it, he can cry about it and we can talk about it. If he wants to be stoic, again, that's the person, right? However they want to express their emotional maturity and emotional stability, that's fine. You asked me if I preferred to be yelled at or if I preferred to be confronted.
Well, he's not yelling at you, he's just yelling.
You're still yelling.
Or maybe he's just not even yelling, but he's just really angry when he says a thing. He just says, listen, this really pissed me off. It made me mad. That's not him yelling. He's just expressing this emotion. But it's not a comfortable emotion to express, right?
Your comparison was, that made me fucking angry, or that made me angry.
Yeah,
obviously, I'm going to prefer not to be yelled at.
But even then, let's go back to, we'll just dial it back, right? We'll dial the yelling back. He's not yelling, but he has an anger in his voice when he's talking to you because you made him angry. Wouldn't you prefer that was gone as well?
No.
And that he just stoically delivered to you that you made him angry and not to do that.
Now you're switching it up.
Preference?
You're switching it up. Your initial comparison
I'm trying to follow your line of logic. That's right.
Right, because it doesn't fit your narrative. That's okay.
What does that mean, fit my narrative? Do you know what logic is?
Yeah.
Okay, if you know what
Well,
logic is, then tell me the 3 laws of it.
The original thing that Brian asked
Hang on,
about
stop.
vulnerability.
Stop. If you know what logic is, then tell me
I
what
know
the 3 rules
general
of logic
definition
are.
of logic. I'm sorry, I don't know the.
Yeah, you don't. So here's the thing, right? Back off on the narrative building. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to walk through whether or not you actually would prefer a stoic frame on a man ultimately if we follow your worldview through.
You're switching after I already answered your question. You're switching
Yeah.
up your question.
Yeah, that's how I continue to test the logic. That's right.
Okay, and I said that I had already answered based on my understanding of your question. Do I want to be
That's why I asked
yelled
a new
at?
one, so I can continue to test the logic.
Wait.
Okay, so you already got my answer though, but why are we still talking about the same exact thing? This is the one thing
Okay, well, it's
I
really
do think
weird,
you're a
like-
great speaker, but this is one thing that I don't appreciate about you. You dig at the same thing to get a different answer so that it
To
fits
test
your
the logic,
narrative.
yeah.
So what are the
You
3?
you realize that when you're testing somebody's logical consistency, it may require multiple questions, right?
Yeah, but when it doesn't follow suit with what you believe in,
Yeah,
you-
then so think of it like a tree. That's a logical tree. That's what it's called. So you go down branch 1 and you go, oh, okay, now we understand where that position it leads. We go down branch 2, now we know where that position leads. Branch 3, now we know where that position leads. But we're all moving the logic towards whatever the conclusion of the position is. It's not narrative building, it's just me trying to actually figure out your positions. It's not even being mean, I'm just literally trying to figure out your positions.
Right, and I said that I would just prefer someone be emotionally stable and emotionally mature and be able to talk about what they're feeling. If they want to cry about it, that's great.
Right.
If they want
And
to
that's what
scream
we're
about
testing.
it,
That's what
obviously
we're
I would
testing by
prefer
going down
not.
these different. Yeah, that's what we're testing by going down these different branches and questions.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. So there's a difference between you expressing that is what you want, but then based on answers to questions, it may not actually be. That's why that's occurring. So I mean, I'm fine moving on, but I'm just letting you know.